when we allow, as someone just said, when you allow people and their opinions to overshadow your life, then it's impossible for you to reach your destiny. If someone is a naysayer or someone who is so opinionated about everything, including what you do, if that person is interjecting themselves into your life and you allow that, there's no way you're going to be successful. You have to be determined that this is what I'm called to do. This is what I want to do more than anything. This is what God wants for me to do. Then anybody else around you that doesn't see that, that doesn't want to buy into that, that doesn't want to help you reach that, then you need to let them go. Otherwise, you cannot reach your successful destiny. The next one, trait of very successful people, they don't allow their lives to get stale. They stay fresh. They keep moving, not away from their purpose, but making it better. They're not satisfied with it just being good. They're not satisfied with it just being mediocre or average. They want it to be great. So whatever it takes to keep it fresh, that's what they're committed to. Then another one is determining what it takes for you to focus. When you want to be successful, the television and the telephone and anything else that dominates your time has got to go. Anybody here deal with distractions? Easily distracted. You cannot be successful when you are swayed by distractions. It's funny because people can focus in different ways, I'll put it that way. When I'm studying, when I'm preparing for a message or a lesson, I need quiet. I need to pull myself away from anything that's going to distract me. I cannot focus when there's distractions. My husband, on the other hand, he needs the noise. So we can't ever study together. That's an impossibility. We cannot study together. I'll have to go in my room or go in the office and close myself off, and I'll tell him, I'm not shutting you out. It's just that I can't hear that. On the other hand, the silence is distracting to him. So you have to determine what it is that gets you in a mode of focusing. And you have to make some sacrifices. There will be times that you will want to go here, go there, do this, do that. But if it's time for you to study, if it's time for you to prepare, if it's time for you to create something or write, you have to hone in and focus on what it is without distraction. Because the enemy is the author of distraction. Because he knows if he can get you off focus, if he can get you away from writing that blog or writing that paper or that article or that book, then it's not going to be completed. And then he's won that battle, because not only, as I said, going back to what we said earlier, not only is that thing, when accomplished, not only is it going to be a blessing to you, but it's going to be a blessing to a whole lot of other people. So what he's saying is that if I can just get them off focus, if I can just get them distracted, then I'm knocking out several people, not just one. It's like dominoes. Good. And he's watching them fall. Lastly, Practice assertiveness. Anybody have a problem with being assertive? Not at all? I have. Assertive does mean a certain amount of aggression. It means boldness. It means moving out in confidence. Doesn't mean rolling over top of people, climbing on top of people to get to where I need to get. That's not what it means. But it does mean a certain amount of boldness, a certain amount of aggression that says, okay, you may not want me to do this, she may not want me to do this, but with the Lord's help, I'm doing it. I'm pushing some doors down. I'll break out a window if I have to, because God's going to bless me with the money to replace it if I need to. But there has to be a certain amount of assertiveness. You can't be, as the old folks used to say, you can't be mealy-mouthed. If you have something to say, you've got to say it. If you have to take a stand, you've got to take a stand and not back up off of it. That's being assertive. That's being bold. That's being confident. You may not see the evidence of what I'm doing right now, but just stick with me because it will be revealed, because I'm going to do it. Yes. The Lord being my helper, I'm going to do it. Steve Jobs said, the only thing that separates him from other people is the ability to focus. That's how important success is. Focus. He has mastered that thing. So what he's saying is that I'm really not any better than anybody else. I don't have something that other people don't have. What it is that I have mastered the art of focus. And what is he? A billionaire. I've heard it said about Steve Harvey that when he, and we all know they're calling him now the hardest working man in entertainment. And so we all know that he's got shows and all the things that he's doing. They say that a lot of people don't like him and feel that he's not, like he is two different people, because what you see on stage, they say behind the scenes, he's different. But he realizes that he has to focus. So when he's getting ready to go on stage to do one of his shows, he does not want any interaction with anybody. Don't bring me anything. Don't knock on my door. Don't come to check on me to see if I'm all right. I'm in a mode. And you think, you could sit back and think, well, why is that necessary when he's going out to, act crazy and, do a whole lot of jokes and all of that? Okay, is he not successful?
Right.
Is he not doing multiple successful things?
Right.
He's found out what it takes to focus. Does it hurt people's feelings? Do they have different opinions of him? Absolutely. But is it hurting him? I don't think so. I don't think so. Even if you do something for a lifetime, and I'm not saying that everyone's purpose or your destiny is the same. Yes, what God has destined you to do does not change. Your purpose to get there can often change. But even if you are one of those that sets out on a path and that path continues all throughout your life, you need to find what it is to make you better. You need to find what it is to reach more people, a greater audience. You need to find what it is for you to be better. So this is all about determining and finding out. This is a personal thing. I would that if there was a prescription or something that could be written out and it could just be passed out. Here, if you do this, you'll be successful. If you do this, you'll be successful. Try this. It'll work. I'll guarantee you. It is a personal, individual thing that each one of us has to master for our lives. My shadow is not your shadow. The things that I deal with that could keep me from becoming all I'm supposed to be, 9 times out of 10, you don't have that same issue. My fears are not your fears. But in order to determine what those fears are, you've got to face them. And you've got to be real about them. You cannot say, well, I hear what she's saying, but I have sense enough to know that if God gave it to me, somebody out there, it's resonating with somebody. Maybe not everything that I've said, but there is at least 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, something that has penetrated and said, oh, she got me. That's where I am right now. I preached a message on this past Sunday, and it was entitled, A Station Called Settle. The message had to penetrate me first. It had to hit me where I was first. And the thing that I now deal with is at this stage in life, at my age, I could easily say, okay, God, well, let's look at this. I've been working in ministry since I was 19 years old. I've had some of the most wonderful jobs. I've worked for some of the most wonderful people, successful people, notable people. I've trained dance teams in the United States and abroad. I have started armor bearer and adjutant ministries in the United States and abroad. Okay, God, well, I did all of that, and then you pulled me out from the background and you said start an international women's ministry. Okay, God, so I did that. That now is 15 years. Been doing that. I did not want to be a speaker. I didn't want to be a teacher. I didn't want to be a lecturer. But you said I had to do it, so God, I did that. I've watched hundreds and thousands of people, their lives changed. Okay, God, isn't that good enough? Aren't you satisfied? Okay, God, now I've got 2 daughters. I've got a team of women that surround me. They're all in ministry. They are all wonderful. They are powerful. They are anointed. Okay, God, I can just sit back and I can just cheerlead them on. I can just tell them, you are great. You do this. I can prophesy into their lives. I can just sit back now and I can just coast my way on into heaven. He's not satisfied. Did he say, well done? Absolutely. But am I still breathing? Absolutely. So there's still more for me to do. But I know my station called settle would begin to bargain with God and say, okay, God, I thought you were pleased. I thought you were happy. I thought you used me. And he said, yeah, I did, but I'm not done. I'm not finished. So what is your shadow? I want to ask you tonight, what is your shadow? What are you running from? What are you using as an excuse? What are you hiding from? What is it that God has been nudging you? Because he's not going to drag you. If you're waiting on him to drag you or run you down, he's not. He's not. He will nudge you. He will whisper in your ear. He will separate you from things. He will make things not work out that you're trying to make work. He'll do all of that to try to get you to see, I'm not pleased yet because it's not over. I'm satisfied. I'm grateful. But there's still more for you to do. So there is a shadow that each of us is hiding from. And I'm going to, before we close tonight, I'm going to give you some applications that are assignments, application assignments. But I'm so excited about next month's class already. And it's a topic that also many people struggle with, and it's self-promotion. That's what January's class is going to deal with. Self-promotion. Is it good or is it bad? Do we self-promote as Christians or do we remain humble? And if others don't promote us, then we don't self-promote. Start thinking about it now because we're going to delve into it in January. But there are 4 things that I want you to do in your application assignment. The first one is assess what has been spoken to you about you over your life. Has God said that God has said to you or about you? I want you to do an assessment of those things. Then number 2, and this is going to be difficult for some because it has been very difficult for me in the past, but it's something I have to revisit frequently. Number 2, look in the mirror in a fully lit room. Remember, we're talking about light and the absence of light? Look in the mirror in a fully lit room. And I want you to stand there for at least 60 to 90 seconds, just looking at nothing else, nobody else but yourself. Then I want you to move from there and take a pad and a pen and write down every positive thing you see. And then on another sheet of paper, I want you to write down every negative thought or opinion you have about yourself. Then I want you to, one by one, step by step, use that list as your beginning process of coming out of the shadows. Are those negative words? Are they lazy tendencies that we know we have? Are we in toxic relationships that are keeping us in the shadows? Do we have unhealthy physical or emotional habits? Are we drowning in procrastination? Are we losing our grip and low self-esteem? That's what I want you to do. That begins the process of where your shadow is, what your shadow is. Then lastly, I want you to explore different avenues of stimulation. Start reading. Start attending seminars, webinars, viewing podcasts to shine the light on where you are and where you need to go. You can't get out of the shadows until you, first of all, determine, acknowledge, and accept what the shadow is, why you're in the shadow, and then start moving as to how to get out. Is it going to be a fast process? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Are you ready to move forward? Are you ready to come out of the shadow? It's time. It's past time. So I hope that you have noted those, the assignment application, because it's really important, but it is going to start with you looking in the mirror in a fully lit room.